don't have them on the bench. Play them. Don't accommodate a striker on out wide who, let's be honest, is a very, very selfish player. Now, if you are a winger, see the work that Wakaso put into the St Mirren game in terms of directness, trying to get to the byline, trying to get the ball in, trying to create something for other players. That was a breath of fresh air at times. Stokes always wants to cut in, always wants to do 1-2s on the edge of the box, always wants to have a shot on goal. And to me, that's not the dynamic that we should be needing. That we need. What did you think of the St Mirren game? Because the Hearts, actually, I just want to make this one final point. The point I was kind of making to Louis facetiously was that, Hearts have been given, the Championship's as good as the SPL, and Hearts are brilliant, and Rangers, Alan McCoy is coming out and saying, there's not that much difference. And I think a below-par Celtic beating Hearts 3-0 does show the gulf. It does show there is still a big difference, and I don't think that the way people are undermining the top league to the point where, Hearts would be, it's bullshit. It's driven by the media as well, I think. I think it's a complete hypocrisy. But then again, we're talking about, the rag newspapers. Do you have a point on that, or am I nuts?
No, I understand what you're saying. I think that's why I said at the beginning, I think the scoreline almost flattered Celtic in a way, because I don't think Hearts were that far off. Certainly, first half, I thought Hearts were the better side. Second half,
first half, in every game we've had this season, the opposition have looked better. In every game this season, with the exception of maybe Maribor.
Well,
away.
Aye, I mean, maybe there's Celtic are to blame for that, but at the same time, Hearts posed a threat first half. So we have to acknowledge it. So if they played all right first half, we didn't play very well. Second half, we kind of ran them over a bit, but I think it was a culmination of the first couple of goals and the fact they missed the penalty kind of compounded it. We get very negative about Celtic at times, but at the same time, we should praise them in the fact that Celtic grabbed that game by the scruff of the neck second half, and we did dominate them second half, and it wasn't as if they had someone sent off or anything like that. I mean, the numbers were even.
Yeah,
Celtic second half, they did bombard them. It was pretty much wave after wave of attack. Second half, when you think about Izagiri, a lot of it came down that side. Tonev came on in the second half, and I thought he done well. I thought he looked sharp, and he was a bit more direct himself. Not in terms of his passing, but his running was a lot more direct. And Skepovic came on, and
we'll get to Skepovic in a minute.
Yeah, I thought he done all right. But we'll get there.
I just want to make the point. I'm not criticising Hearts. Hearts are a good team, but the way they've been built up in the media is ridiculous, Chris.
Well, the papers have got an angle, especially with Rangers being in the Championship. It's dead easy to look at things clearly. I mean, obviously, the Championship's not as good as the SPL. Rangers and Hearts aren't anywhere near as good as a lot of sides in the SPL, but they're not going to alienate half their readership, so they need to kind of just lie and say that and make it out that they're a bit better than they are. And the fact that there's Hibs, Hearts and Rangers in the Championship, I suppose it is an anomaly, so it's kind of newsworthy. But let's not joke around here. There is a golfing class. There's more than just Celtic team-wise that are a lot better than those sides. But in terms of the game on Wednesday, I thought, as Louis said, in the first half we weren't very good. In the second half we got a lot better. What I saw in this side is I think they gained confidence. I think they've got a little bit lack of belief. They're kind of scared to make a mistake, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think once they kind of seized the initiative a bit, we played a lot better, and we showed the difference in class that we've got between them. And hopefully, Ronnie, I think that went on a wee bit in St Mirren. Again, it wasn't exactly a scintillating performance, but it was a better performance. And I think we're perhaps maybe gaining a bit in confidence, and that's only going to improve us.
The first goal is very important these days for Celtic. If we get it, we seem to be a team that we immediately have our tails up. Whereas if we lose that first goal, it's
heads down.
The heads down.
Yeah. I think just looking at the St Mirren game, Craig Gordon made a mistake. It's almost an anomaly. It doesn't happen very often. But he made a mistake, and when we equalised,
Well, I see when you say Craig Gordon made a mistake. Yes and no. His idea was correct, but he didn't factor in the way the pitch was playing. The way the ball was bouncing on that pitch, it was so dry that when he threw out that ball, he didn't judge it well enough, because that ball was
so
not.
he made a mistake. That's exactly.
No, that's what I'm saying. His idea was right. The fact that he was trying to play the ball out was right to that man, but he didn't factor in everything else, which was his mistake. Yeah, but the way the pitch was playing, I would have thought that a man of his experience would have factored that in.
Here's the thing about Gordon. He's still only played. Has he got double-figured games for Celtic?
Probably no.
Okay, let's say he's played 10 games, right? That's 10 games in 3 years. He's still finding his feet. Yeah. We'll forgive it after the performance.
He did a good first save.
I did have a good first save, actually. After the performance in Austria, we'll allow him a couple of mistakes.
The fact that we won means that you can write it off completely.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to really remember those mistakes. It's the mistakes that cost you games, like when he played for Hearts and he popped the ball into the net
Look
against
at that
us.
smile.
I mean, seriously, that's one of the reasons why I didn't want him to sign that time. He'd come up for a corner against us.
Yeah, come on.
Always forgiven now, Craig. We love you, but it's the mistakes that cost games that you remember.
Yeah,
that'll be out of your mind in a few weeks, because we won the game. So I'd much rather he ballsed up in games like that where we still get the 3 points, and in the end up it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Guidetti, 3 goals in 2 games. Louis, you had some interesting comments about him on Wednesday. What do you think of him? Think of him now? You said he ran funny.
I thought he ran like a slow James Forrest. I'm not slagging him off. I just mean the way he moves with the ball at his feet. I think he's very like James Forrest, and that kind of almost kind of hunched over. He kind of looks off balance, but he's not.
Like Craig Bellamy, sort of thing.
Aye, it works for him. I mean,
neck.
Yeah,
I'm not slagging him off for the way he runs. Like, fair enough, that's the way he runs. But I don't know. Until we were talking about it the other day in the WhatsApp and all that, and I'd said how I didn't think he had done enough to warrant a full-time contract at Celtic.
Yeah,
it's very early. He's only played a few games, so I'm not expecting miracles. But I just there was a lot of hype when he came to Celtic, and there was a lot of people kind of singing his praises when he hadn't done a hell of a lot. And I just felt as if, fair enough, he's came to Celtic and he's not played a lot of first team football, which is fair enough. But I was just a wee bit more sceptical maybe than a lot of people. But he's getting there. I thought his goal, his definite goal against St Mirren was a really good finish, good run, good finish, good pass by Stokes as well. So I think there's definitely more to come when he gets used to playing first team football and playing every week.
Yeah.
But then the other thing kind of has you wondering is the fact that we've paid for Skepovic, and we've paid good money for Skepovic on a full-time contract, and we're playing a boy on loan. I mean, I would, if he keeps scoring and his fitness improves, then yeah, why not sign him? But I don't think Celtic should be signing anybody on their name or on kind of expectations at this point. They have to kind of prove themselves now, because Celtic can't get burned again.
Chris, the comparison, Louis made there about, Guidetti and Skepovic. How do you think they're both doing?
Guidetti, I'm quite pleased with. I can see that he's still very rusty because he's had his injury problems. He's not. He's a lot like Gordon. He's not had a run of games now, and he's just finding his feet. When I see Guidetti, I see a guy who feeds off adulation, and I think Celtic are crying out for a hero just now. I'm not saying he's going to be that guy, but I'm saying he could be, and I'm saying that if he keeps doing what he's doing, keeps scoring, hits the ground running, the crowd are going to adore this guy, and I think he would absolutely
We're looking for a talisman, aren't we?
We are. We're looking for a hero. I mean, there's probably a song in
Looking
there.
for a Swedish hero, definitely.
Well, we are. And from what I've seen of him, he still looks rusty. He's not. I mean, he said when he scored the goal, his only definite one, as you said, he said he had cramp at the time. He's probably not hitting top condition as of yet.
Does he look overweight?
I don't know if he looks overweight. I think he looks rusty. I just think if he gets a good run of training behind him and a good bank of games under his belt, I really do think we've not seen anything about what he's really capable of yet.
Yeah.
The goal against Hearts was a really good finish. His 2 goals, it's Mirren. I was really, really pleased because I thought I was seeing something in him. That's a lot of the time what you're looking for. You're looking for like a sign.
His movement's good.
His movement
is good.
And I mean, Goodwin was just putting the living shit out of him for most of that game, and he didn't seem that perturbed by it. Do you know what I mean? I was really delighted to see, performance-wise, it could have been improved on, definitely, but I saw the seeds of something that could be a lot better there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Skepovic.
Yeah,
I'm not really going to be too hard on the guy because I don't think he's had the game time that Guidetti has. And I'd quite like to see the two of them get a run together.
What are you saying?
No, I was just going to say, I think one of our questions on Twitter, you would have to check who had sent it in, but I think someone...
I'll check that now, but Chris, you finish. But thanks.
I think the question on Twitter is about, should we play the two of them together? Is that the one you're talking about?
No, I'm sure I seen one that was about whether we think that John Guidetti should or would sign on permanently after his loan, because obviously his contract runs up at the end of the season. So do we think that Celtic would want that, and would John Guidetti want that?
We'll get to that comment in a minute, but I want to ask you both this question. I saw a couple of people comment that Skepovic doesn't look that interested, which to me is a bit mental considering he's played 2.5. Is he paid? He's not paid 2.5 games. He's paid like a game or something. As in, I don't think he started one game, came off 60 minutes. Does he look uninterested to you guys, or
I don't think so. I've been quite impressed with him. In terms of, I think he is a different type of striker to what we have. I think he's quite good with his back to goal. I think he can hold the ball up. He can bring people into play, which I think has been one of the things so far with Celtic this year. That fair enough, Dyla wants to play the 3 up front, but 2 wide players and 1 player through the middle. He doesn't want to play 2 strikers.
Yeah.
But in order to play that, you need to have that one striker linking up with everybody else. And I don't think we've had that yet. I don't think we've had the midfield players or the wide players really linking up well with whoever's playing the kind of centre-forward position. Whereas I think Skepovic has been quite good at that. He's good with his back to goal. He can take the ball in and he can bring other people into play. I think he's possibly better at that role than what Guidetti is. Fair enough, they're going to be different types of players. But so far, I thought he was good against Hearts when he came on. He
drags people. He makes runs and it drags the defence all over the place, which will free up space for the wide players.
He was drifting to the far post when the ball was out wide, so he was obviously looking to get into position for a header. He was coming. He was pulling out to the penalty spot when the wide player was rushing into the box. So he's obviously got enough awareness of where he should be. To kind of offer an option, which I like. Yeah. I like the fact that he's not just looking to get it early and shoot, maybe like Stokes does. He's not going to shoot from range, possibly like Griffiths does. And he's maybe not going to be as physical or as bullish as maybe Guidetti is, but he can take the ball into his feet, he can link up play, he's got enough awareness and positional awareness to kind of drift out if he has to drift out. And also he has an aerial presence, which is something we don't have.
You just mentioned 4 strikers with 4 different qualities. That must be a good thing, right? 4 different, and they are all very different. Chris, I'm coming to you with this one. They are all very different. If he's going to, obviously he's playing between Skepovic and Guidetti at this point, so White Griffiths is nowhere near the squad. You know, if he did go 2 up,